Well, thank you for staying with us on Daybreak on Trust TV this morning. Now we'll move to a story that is currently shaping the corridors of power and the talk on safety of our streets. In a strategic move to overhaul Nigeria's security apparatus, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Monday, May 11th, appointed retired Major General Adeyinka A. Famadewa, a man widely regarded as an intelligence fusion pioneer, as the special advisor on Homeland Security. This isn't just a new phase in the cabinet. It is a fundamental redesign of how this nation protects its people. We're witnessing a significant shift in our intelligence architecture. For the first time, we see a clear structural bifurcation, so to say, a splitting of duties where Homeland Security now sits as its own pillar, separate from the traditional National Security Advisor's mandate. What's the goal? The goal, according to the information available to us, is to turn intelligence fusion into reality, to break down the walls between the DSS, the police, the military, and to ensure that information isn't just gathered, but shared and acted upon before a crisis hits. But this change raises critical questions. How will this focus on civil security cooperation actually change the face of policing in Nigeria? And importantly, are we creating a more efficient system, or are we just risking institutional overlap and bureaucratic friction? Because as you know, the office of the NSST exists with a renewed hope agenda leaning heavily on proactive risk management. The stakes for this new office couldn't be higher. To help us peel back and make sense of all these things is a security expert. We're joined now via Zoom from Lagos by Kehinde Giwa. Kehinde is a leading security analyst with SBM Intelligence and has been closely tracking these structural shifts. Kehinde, it's a pleasure always to have you on Daybreak. So good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yes. Let's get straight to it. General Famadewa is an expert, according to his CV, in intelligence fusion. But in a landscape as complex as we have in Nigeria, is a new office the solution, or are we just complicating an already crowded security room? Let's hear your thoughts on that.
Well, thank you for having me again. It's a relative question because Nigeria, as we speak, is overstretched. Our security agencies are overstretched because we are dealing with a compendium of armed groups that keep perpetrating onslaughts day in, day out in this country. And just like you said, it's an imperative question. Are we just filling the offices? Just less than a year, some of the army chiefs and some of the service chiefs were changed. They were replaced. The question we should ask, the question Nigerians should ask is, has there been an improvement in the security conditions in Nigeria? And a lot of things go on in this country that is highly underreported. And of course, yes, the new special advisor on Homeland Security is not just a political appointment. We have to be very, very factual. We have to be very honest. It is a technical appointment because this is a man that comes with a track record of intelligence. And intelligence is a major problem in insecurity in this country. Not just intelligence, because we've seen situations, we've had reports, we've gotten reports in times past when security agencies, the military, the police, the NSCDC, even the local vigilantes got intelligence that there was going to be a mass abduction. We got all of these reports last year, but what do our security operatives do with this intelligence? It brings to the fore what we call actionable intelligence. What are we really doing with this intelligence? We have the intelligence. Intelligence is not a problem in this country. So when you're bringing in somebody who is a supposed intelligence guru, what is he exactly coming to do? What is he exactly coming to tell the National Security Advisor? And I should say this, when this report came out yesterday, the feelers that came across online was, do we really have Homeland Security in Nigeria? A lot of Nigerians don't even know what Homeland Security is, and it is imperative to mention that Homeland security has to do with all of the security problems that is battling Nigeria from within, from banditry to kidnapping to Fulani herdsmen crisis in the north central to court clashes in the southwest to a lot of, just like I said at the beginning, that we are dealing with a compendium of security problems. So Homeland security has to do with the security problems that Nigeria is battling from within. And three major things is what this new special advisor should be focusing on. The ability to convert actionable intelligence in foiling these attacks. When we get the intelligence, what do we do with the intelligence? That's number one. Number two, it should come in and ensure that there is problem solving amongst all our security. Sorry?
Yes, please go ahead. You can wrap up your points.
Yeah. Yes. The new special advisor should ensure that there is synergy between our interagencies, like the police, like the national, like the NSCDC, like the military. There needs to be a communication. There needs to be, just like we said, there needs to be a fusion in ensuring that all of the attacks that we receive about 30 incidents that are reported. We work with the data. The data are there. They are available online. It's a public domain. So we receive about 30 incidents on a daily basis from across all of the 6 regions in this country. We need to ensure that vigilantes at the local level, we need to ensure that there is adequate intelligence, adequate information spread across all of the security agencies, because we have about 10 security agencies in this country and we cannot stop this attack. So that's number two. Number three, the NSA himself, should concern himself with the diplomacy, the counter-terrorism coming from outside of the country. He can free up, the special advisor can free up the NSA to focus on that aspect of security while he focuses himself on homeland security. We are dealing with a lot. We are dealing with the Lakurawa set. We are dealing with banditry. We are dealing with the Mahmuda terror central. We are dealing with even micro insecurity situations that happen even in the southwest. We saw an incident yesterday in Benin. I would ask, if we have to ask a question where a university student is just shot outside of the university gate, where does the police, where does even the local security agencies come into play? Yeah. If we cannot do anything with all of the intelligence we are receiving, we are only deceiving ourselves.
All right. Kehinde, I want you to double down on the office itself. Just like you rightly said, and all Nigerians are wondering yesterday, the concept of Homeland Security as an office is strange in Nigeria. So if I can use that word, I don't think in the history of this country, I don't think we've ever had that being used. And a lot of people feel that this is being mirrored with what we have currently in the United States of America, where there's a Department of Homeland Security. But for the United States of America, this office was created out of a necessity after the 9/11 terror attack in the state. And because what we have in the United States now is that there is still an Office of the National Security Advisor, and there is the Department of Homeland Security. And that is almost similar to what we are currently going to have in Nigeria. How do we try to help Nigerians first to make sense of what the Homeland Security apparatus should focus on? Because what we saw yesterday when they were reading out his JD's job description is somehow similar to what the current NSA is doing. Help us situate Homeland Security as it is today in Nigeria.
Okay. Homeland Security has to do with just like I said, all of the security threats that is bedeviling the country from within. We are not talking about the insurgency that is going on in border regions or boundary regions like the Lake Chad and Borno State and all of. We are talking about all of the securities as small as court clashes, so to speak, as small as armed robbery incidents, as small as a theft in the market, as small as traffic robbery, as small as they are not just looking, when we look at the bigger picture, we look at all of the mass abductions that has happened, in churches, in schools, but we are talking about insecurity across all levels. We are talking about border insecurity. It is extremely important. What happens at our border? What and who do we allow to come into the country? What and who do we allow to go outside the country? So all of the security situation that bedevils a particular country from within is what the homeland security is all about. And I think that the new special advisor should concern himself with a number of things. State policing has been in the discussion, has been in the pipeline. A lot of states have been clamoring for state policing for several months now. I think this is something that the new special advisor on homeland security should look at, because state policing is about our indigenous policing. It's about, we've seen Amotekun in Ondo, which of course has received its own level of criticism because Ondo State is the most insecure state in the southwest. It is imperative to mention that. So the issue of state policing, is it something that we really need? Is it something that you want to bring to the table of the National Security Advisor? Is it something that we should implement as a country in tackling? Because we have the security agencies across all levels, but we also need to have them at the local government level. We need to have them at the community level. We need to have them at the state level. This is one of the things that the special advisor should be thinking of implementing alongside the NSC. Another thing is bringing in technology. We've seen situations in this country where ISWAP, where Boko Haram, where a number of these attackers have more sophisticated weapons, have more sophisticated arms, even than our own security personnel. How is terrorists in a forest able to communicate with the families of victims and collect ransom? And we cannot track these guys down. This is the job of the special advisor on homeland security. Just yesterday or the day before yesterday, there was a report of a bandit who made a phone call to an influencer, I think in Abuja or Nasarawa, a video phone call. We see these guys receiving money into accounts. We see these terrorists receiving money. We see them deploying technology that is even, outpacing the technology of our security operatives. This is where the Homeland Security Special Advisor should come in. We need to implement security. We need AI in our security. We need to have drones in our security so that we can know, for example, all of these issues of accidental bombings, where the Nigerian military accidentally bombs a civilian population, like we've had in Niger and Yobe in the last 2 weeks. If we add the adequate technology to map out these guys, to map out these terrorists, all of these incidents, all of these accidental incidents will not be happening. So the issue of state policing is one. The issue of technology is two, and number three, which is also chief amongst all of the things that this new special advisor should bring into the fold, is the issue of intelligence. We need to start converting intelligence into tracking all of the incidents. Like I said, we have reportedly, documentedly, we have 30 incidents that happen in this country every day, and it is not going to stop if we don't start using, if technical appointments like this don't start using their offices judiciously. This is not just a political appointment. Just like we've seen his JDs. This is a man with all of the experience. He has 30 years experience in military intelligence. We've changed the service chiefs. We've replaced them. We keep having a lot of security meetings day in, day out. All of these actions, all of these developments need to start translating into palpable solutions. Nigerians are being killed on a daily basis. Nigerians are being kidnapped. There is virtually no day that we don't have about 20 abductions in the northwest. This is not a time for us to just fill up all of the offices and say, oh, we are trying to mimic the West, we are trying to mimic America. Yes, we are bringing up solutions. What exactly? Just like you said at the earlier stage of this program, you said the renewed hope agenda. What exactly is the resultant effect of the renewed hope agenda in security? Our police is massively underfunded. Our military is massively underfunded. These are the issues that the Homeland Security should be looking at. Fund the police, give them adequate welfare, give them adequate technology, give them adequate weapons. Situations where terrorists are carrying guns, terrorists are using AK-47s. it makes it so easy to completely obliterate our security personnel. And if our security personnel can be easily neutralized, what is the fate of the average citizen?
All right, Kehinde, I want to still take you. Of course, I want to ask. We'll still talk about the person that has been appointed into this role, but a lot of Nigerians are still not really clear. A lot of criticism, a lot of skepticism have been raised concerning these new appointments. And this is just like we said, it's because it's kind of a novel thing in the country, it's new. And people have tried to make comparison with other countries aside the United States, which is the only country in the world that has that specific designation as Home Affairs Department. Similar experience, similar concepts that we've seen in other countries like the United Kingdom is the Home Affairs Office. In Germany, they have what they call the Federal Ministry of Interior and Community, which they call BMI. In Israel, we have the Ministry of National Security, and in Palestine, they have what they call the Palestinian Ministry of Interior. These are just some few examples, and people are raising the concern that if you look at what is obtainable in these countries that I've mentioned and others, we have something similar already existing in the cabinet. Aside the NSA, we have a Ministry of Interior, which is supposed to be a coordinating point for all the interior security apparatus, excluding the police. We even have the Ministry of Police Affairs. Then we have the NSA. Now we're having the Home Affairs Special Advisor. And we're talking about cutting cost of governance. Is this not expanding the scope for the same job responsibility? And don't forget, we have 2 ministers of defense. What exactly is Nigeria doing? Are we just creating offices for the same responsibility, or this is a totally needed issue at this moment? And if it is, should we still have these other offices like the Ministry of Interior and the likes? I want to get your take on that.
Well, I don't think it is left to be seen. It is left to be seen if the office of the Special Advisor on Homeland Security would generate results. But I should say that it is one too many appointments. From the bottom to the top, we have numerous people in the place of security that has already, to be very frank and to be very candid, has not done a very good job. So the place of bringing in a novel office as an oversight is quite understandable. That's why I said it is left to be seen whether this new office will generate results. But it does not inspire Nigerians in any way. It does not inspire me as an average Nigerian. It does not. From looking at it from an analyst perspective or looking at it from an expert perspective, you will say we have 2 ministers of defense, we have commissioners of police, we've had the NSA before, we have an inspector general of police, we have a number of security chiefs in this country. What exactly have they done so far? These are the things that the special advisor should come in first and foremost and ask questions. What exactly have these guys been doing before? Okay, for example, you brought in somebody new and you say, oh, this is a novel office, it's coming to do this and do that. The person who was brought in yesterday, they've read his JDs. They've said he's a man of track record, he's a man of experience. This man has not told us one, that I know, he has not told us one policy that he is going to do to change the situation of security within Nigeria. We just keep having offices, we just keep having security chiefs. That's why I said, for the average Nigerian, I just hope this is not trying to copy or this is not trying to mimic the West. Because those in the West who have offices like this, they have results to show for. And that's why I said it is left to be seen. Looking at it from an analyst perspective, a number of our security chiefs, the security chiefs in this country have failed abruptly. Bringing in Professor Famedewa, it is left to be seen whether he would generate results. But to be very honest with you, it is going to be difficult. It is going to be extremely difficult because there has to be synergy. There has to be synergy with these people that you met on ground. There has to be synergy with all of the commissioners of police. There has to be synergy with all of the security chiefs in the country. There has to be a fusion. There have to be intelligence gathering among all of our entire security agencies. So it's not just about coming in and saying he's a man of track record. Of course, we recently recently appointed a new Inspector General of Police. We should ask ourselves the question: this is the #1 security operative in this country, as far as community policing community security is concerned. What has been the improvement since Tunji Disu came on board about 4 or 5 months ago? What has been the improvement in our security? Has there been a decline in armed robbery? The data is saying otherwise. Has there been I'm not even talking about terrorism, because when you talk about terrorism, you look at that is the major office of the Ministry of Defense. But we look at even the small security positions in terms of police, in terms of, just like this one that was appointed. What exactly has been the result in the last 3 to 4 months? The result has been poor, because every day people are dying. We deal with numbers. We are not just analyzing based on AC. And I should say that all of the incidents that happen in the country, they are massively underreported. There are places in Lokoja, there are places in Goronyo, in Sokoto, there are places in Gaidam, in Yobe State, where if incidents happen, nobody will hear about these things. So there needs to be communication. We need to start knowing more, except for security experts and security analysts who have their sources on ground. A lot of incidents in this country are massively underreported, and with this incident needs to start coming to the fold. A commissioner of police in Nigeria will be called upon, and they would say, what do you have to say about an attack or about an explosion, an ID explosion that happened in a particular state? And the commissioner of police will tell you he's not aware. The police PRO will tell you they are not aware of such incidents. This is where intelligence comes in. How are incidents happening in your state and you are saying you are not aware? So this is why I said intelligence gathering is absolutely important. State policing is absolutely important. The fusion, the incorporation of technology into our security is absolutely important. We are being overpowered. We are being overburdened by all of these armed groups that is currently bedeviling Nigeria.
All right, Kehinde, let's talk about the man for the job. I know you have tried to set agenda for him. Major General Adeyinka Amadewa. He's not a new name in Nigerian intelligence. Those that are aware, those that know what happens in the intelligence sector. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was said to be the general officer in the NSA office before his retirement. So specifically, he's seen as an intelligence-driven person. But based on his track record at the ONSA, the Office of the National Security Advisor's Office, beyond just the ones on the surface, why do you think President Tinubu settled for him for this position, which is a debut role, which is a new? He has never really held any political appointment in the security apparatus. Why do you think the president settled for him at this time that we are?
Well, it's I would say because of his track record. That was number one. He is somebody who is highly spoken about and highly revered, especially in Nigeria's intelligence agencies, the DIE, the NIE, and but even at that, in the last 1 year, I was speaking the last 1 year, we are still having intelligence problems in this country, despite having people like him in the industry, despite having people like him in the sector. We still have issues of intelligence. We still have issues where massive attacks happened last year and our security personnel failed to do anything about it. The Brigadier General that was slaughtered in Damboa local government of Borno State in November last year, when the military or the Nigerian army went to foil a particular incident, and when they were coming, they were ambushed. It means that there was a break in intelligence. There was a lack of intelligence because they were ambushed by ISWAP on their way in Damboa. So this man has been there, and we've had our problems, we've had our challenges in insecurity in Nigeria. So it calls to question why, in terms of experience, he's been there, like, he's been in security for over 30 years. But in terms of results generated in the last 3 years of the President Tinubu administration, it's almost needless. It's almost begs Nigerians to ask the question, what exactly is this man going to come and do? Since we are saying he's not a new face in the industry, since we are saying he's not a new face in the security ecosystem, if he has been there, if he has been in around the security ecosystem? Why have we been suffering attacks? Why have we been suffering lack of intelligence? Why are police commissioners and police chiefs and security chiefs saying they don't know about an incident? Why are security chiefs saying, oh, they were not aware that they were going to be ambushed? Why are security chiefs saying they didn't know when terrorists entered the school, whisked students, 300 students away, and not one security operative was aware, allegedly, was aware of the incident, if this man had been there? So, if you ask me why the President Tinubu bring him on board, it's left to be seen. But because he has been there, we've not seen any major results, and we are beginning to, after this appointment, what other appointment are you going to bring in on board? We need to start working with what we have. We need to start managing our resources in this country. Security is already underfunded in terms of welfare, in terms of personnel training, in terms of the psychological evaluation of our security operative. We keep having forced brutality incidents where Nigerian army, Nigerian police, this is not even a claim. These things happen online that we see every day, where security operatives will be inflicting mayhem on civilians that they are meant to defend. We've had extrajudicial killings in this country in the last 5 years. So these are issues that should be tackled. Not just about filling offices, not just about creating offices, because people in the West are seeing the result. What are we really going to do? Like I said, since this man came on board, Nigerians the presidency owes Nigerians a responsibility. You've mentioned his track record. How does he want to bring in the track record to solve what is on ground? We are dealing with a lot currently, and if we don't do this, if we keep filling in all of the offices, after this one you bring in another person, after this one you change the service chiefs, you change the IGP, you change all of the commissioner of police in all the states in Nigeria, even the FCT minister who is supposed to overrun affairs in the FCT. What is really happening? We are not seeing the result, and that is what Nigerians are saying.
Thank you.
Just like we said of this program, Nigerians don't even know that we have homeland security to start with. That tells you the level of decadence that has happened in the security architecture in Nigeria.
All right. Like I said, time is unfortunately not on our side, but I really want to get your final thoughts on a general overview, just in the next 30 seconds. But before then, the new appointee, like I said earlier, I made a mistake, is a principal. He was a principal general staff officer at the NSA from 2015 to 2021. But kind of on your final thoughts, how do you think both the NSA and the new Special Advisor on Homeland Security can avoid overlapping and conflict of interest? Just in 20 to 30 seconds, please.
Well, I think it's about working together. It's about unity. It's about having a cohesive inter-security agencies. It's about having the common interest of Nigerians at hand. Once the common interest is there to solve, to bring to a decline the insecurity problem in this country, there won't be overlapping. There won't be a clash of interests. Once there is one common interest, one common goal to bring an end to the menace that is plaguing insecurity in this country, I think that is just the solution. What is the interest of the new Special Advisor on Homeland Security? What is the interest of all of the commissioners of police? What is the interest of the ministers of defense? If they have one interest, this will not be a discussion.
All right. Thank you very much, Kehinde, a leading security analyst with SBM Intelligence. Kehinde Giwa, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So viewers, that's as much as we can take on these segments of the program. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we're going to bring you some of the front pages of our papers, national newspapers today, and we'll get into it after the break. Stay with us.